Hi. Hi guys. How are you guys doing? Is this reflection on my face? So, how are you guys? For me, I'm good. This is going to be a very interesting night, and I want to chit chat with you guys. Let me quickly start with my introduction. My name is Okoro Blessing in Kiroka, and I'm popularly known as Blessing CEO, Africa's certified relationship and mental expert. How are you guys doing? So today, I want to be sharing with you guys my own personal experience. So today, we're going to be talking about me. About me. So, to my Facebook fan, this is just me chit-chatting with you guys. Many of you have been asking me, Blessing CEO, what's up? You've been married before. Blessing CEO, you probably been hearing stories about Blessing CEO being married before. I was the one that came and told them the story. But maybe most of you did not hear the full story. So don't worry, I'm here to give you guys gist. So for those of you who do not know, I've been divorced for over 12 to 13 years. Yes. A lot of people tend to tell me, go back to your husband, go back to your husband. It's been 12, 13 years of divorce. This marriage you're hearing has been close to 14 years ago. When you're hearing about Blessing has been married before, do you think it was last year? It was like 13, 14 years ago. I married at a very young girl. So story. Once upon a time. So I married as a very young girl. Before I start my story, it is from this experience that the passion, the drive of becoming a certified relationship therapist came from. First of all, I'm 32 years old. I'm going to 33. On the 23rd of May, I'm going to be 33, but I'm 32 now. And I studied economics in the University of Calabar. Graduated with a 2-2. I beg you, and no cost me. I get 2-2, and so I've been supposed to get 2-1, no, but something happened. The lecturer he had no correct, so they can't give me 2-2. So I graduated with a 2-2 in economics. I did my NYC in Akwa Ibom. I got married at the age of 18. I was a very young girl when I got married. I started dating quite early. I started dating at the age of 15. Yeah. So when I tell you that I'm not your mates, you keep quiet, I want to talk. Yeah. I started dating at the age of 15. I started dating very early. A lot of people are going to be wondering, why 15? It's just that I was a young girl who was in a hurry to grow up, right? I was in a hurry to grow up. And because my parents were disciplinarians, I wanted freedom, right? So I'm going to tell you how I come from a very responsible and moderate family. I'm not from a poor home. I'm not from a rich home. I'm from a very comfortable home. My parents could feed 3 square meals and they could send me to school. We're not very rich, but we're never poor. So, but I was a young girl who desired more. You know, right from childhood, I wanted to know so much. You know, my height, yeah. Because I watched a lot of African magic. So many times when I was young, I wanted to emulate everything I was seeing in the movies. Yes, in African magic, I wanted to emulate it. So it made me a bit adventurous. Everything I watch on TV, I was looking for somebody to practice it with. Okay. Everything I watch on TV, I wanted to practice it. So it made me a little bit wild. You know, all those love we're watching on African magic. I was looking for who to practice the love as a young girl. So it made me a little bit to go and start, looking for who to give this love. So my mom owns a shop. Any of you that is in Enugu State, there's a market called Ogbete Main Market. So my mom used to own a kitchen utensil shop in Ogbete Main Market. Rail line, that's where her shop used to be. So she was like, instead of sitting idle at home, come and join me in the shop. Come and help me and be selling, because I'm selling. An idle mind is a devil's workshop. So I used to go to my mom's shop time to time when I was waiting for my WAEC. You know, that time you have to stay 1 year at home. So I was going to my mom's shop to help her. My mom used to go to Lagos or Nisha to buy her goods, stock. So most times I'm always in the shop. So I was in the shop one day when four guys walked into my mom's store. They were all handsome. So they were looking for gifts to buy because we sold kitchen utensils. So it was part of gift item. So when they walked into the shop, they said they just got a job and they are doing kind of send forth. So they are giving gifts to their colleagues. So they asked me to suggest what they can give. I suggested for them. There was this particular guy that was looking at me. I didn't even notice him though. I just wrapped the gifts. Almost all the guys that came into the store wanted to ask me out. Because when I was young, I was very pretty, very beautiful. So, but there was this particular one that wasn't talking. He was just staring at me. My mind did not even go there, right? So when I finished wrapping the gifts for them, he now wrote his phone number and said, call me. When he wrote his phone number and said, call me, I was like, who is this one? Normally, a guy is supposed to collect a girl's number now. So I was now saying, what's giving this one the audacity to write his number and say, call me? I never called him. But it showed me how sensible the guy was. This guy in question is my ex-husband. So I realized that he wrote his phone number in a particular carton we used to bring out every morning. Because, you know, when you're bringing out goose now, we always have these empty cartons that we used to wage the goose. So that was where he wrote his phone number. So every morning, I brought out that carton. I saw the phone number, but I never called. One day, we were bored. There was no market. So the sales girl now told me, Nkiru, call this number now. This guy will come shop that day. I was like, Chebi, out of boredom, I picked up my phone and I dialed the number. Immediately I said, hello, good afternoon. This is Nkiru. He said, I recognize your voice. I've been waiting for your call. Can I call you back? I'm in a meeting. So I actually tripped because he recognized my voice. He didn't come and start saying, who is that? Who is that? So it simply meant that, yes, he had me at the back of his mind. So he actually, you know, tripped me. You know, the Nigerian movie that I used to watch now. So he called back. That was how we started talking. We spoke on the phone for like 4 months. That time now, midnight call. We spoke midnight call. It was fun. It was fun until he said, okay, he wanted to see me. I was like, okay. So he came down to Enugu again to see me. So it was the next time that he came down. That was after like 4 or 5 months when we had talked on the phone because he was staying in Port Harcourt. It was when he came down to Enugu again to see me. That was when we had sex. That was when I got deflowered. I actually got deflowered in his friend's house. Oh Lord! Oh God! Anyway, I couldn't even remember what it was like. Yeah, I couldn't remember. Because the day I got deflowered, I had to lie to my mother. I did not go back home. I switched off my phone and went with him to his friend's house. My mom was worried. After knocking that night and getting deflowered, the next day when I was going back home, I now tied bandage on my hand, tied bandage on my leg. When I went back home, my mom saw me and said, Nkiru, I said, yes, mom. Where are you coming back from? Mommy, I was robbed. The car that we entered, somersaulted. She said, yes. They took us to one bush. One bush, they robbed us. My mom said, lose the bandage. Let me see the gravity of the wound. I said, there is no wound. They were just using gun to hit my hand, using gun. She now said, how did you get bandage now? I said, they rushed us to the hospital. And she said, and which hospital? I said, I can't remember. I can't remember. She said, you don't. I said, no, I just woke up. She said, how did you remember? I said, they just asked me my address. She said, okay, can I know the people that brought you so I can go and thank them? I said, I don't remember. I don't know. My mom told me, okay, come inside now. Thank God you are okay. As I entered inside the house, if you see the beating my mom gave me. She started by losing the bandage. After losing the bandage, she gave me the beating of my life. Anyway, after the beating, I was sure happy that I knocked. You know when you eat the forbidden fruits? So that was how I didn't even tell my ex that I was beaten. You know that point you were beating for love? I saw it as part of the sacrifices I had to make for love. So I didn't even tell him, but I didn't want him to be worried. So we continued talking on the phone, midnight call. So that was how we started dating. I remember the first day he invited me to Port Harcourt. Kai. The very first time he invited me to Port Harcourt, I had to lie again. Hey, this lie did not start today. Hey, I had to lie. Then I was still looking for admission in the University of Calabar. Then, so, do you know what I did? When he asked me to come to Port Harcourt to come and see him, do you know what I did? I now went to my mom's phone and edited my uncle's phone number. I put in another phone number. I swapped him another. I bought a new SIM card. Swapped the SIM card into my phone. Went to my mom's phone and edited my uncle's phone number into that new SIM card that I bought. And now sent my mom a text message and now said, please tell Nkiruka to start coming to Calabar. They have given her admission. So immediately my mom saw the text message. She tried to call the number. By then I had switched it off. Now don't forget that she only saved my uncle's number. And I had deleted my uncle's number and put a wrong number. So when she tried to call, the number was switched off. So she had to go with the text message. Because in the message, they said, let Nkiru start coming to Calabar the next morning. My mom said, Nkiru, Uncle Ude said you should start coming to Calabar. It's like they're giving you admission. My mom packed my stuff. Hey, I couldn't wait. The next morning, my mom drove me to Peace Park. Waited for me until the bus moved. Immediately the bus moved to NMPC. I said, oh God, drop me, I beg. I forgot something. So they dropped me in NMPC. I entered another keke, Abi bus. I went back to Peace Mass. Okay, I boarded that bus was going to Calabar now. So when they dropped me NMPC, I boarded another bus. Going straight to Port Harcourt to go and see my man. So when I got to Port Harcourt, he was very happy to see me. So we had fun. I don't know why there's this reflection on my face and I don't like it. Hold on, guys. Okay. When I got to Port Harcourt, he was very happy to see me. We had fun. So by the time the day I went to his house, he was still staying in his family compound. So he took me to his room. I wasn't so comfortable because, you know, the parents were living there. His sisters were staying there. He took me to his room. And then he was working in the bank. So he noticed I was uncomfortable. I couldn't come out of his room. I was just, you know, I was staying in his room anytime he goes to work. One day the sister came and knocked. You be ghosts? Come out, come greet us now. I was doing like Pepe. So that was how we started dating. When I met my ex-husband, he was driving his father's car. He was driving this Mercedes flat boots. And when I saw him, I kept praying for him to buy a car. My ex-husband is very cute. He's a very handsome man. If you see my first son, you've seen my ex-husband. Very handsome man. He's fine. I can't take that one away from him. He's a very handsome guy. So he noticed I was uncomfortable. So each time I came to his house, he realized I was uncomfortable. So he told me, okay, don't worry. The next time you're going to come here, I would have built something small to make you comfortable. And the next time I came to Port Harcourt, he had raised a 1-bedroom. It was still in his family compound, but he raised the 1-bedroom right in their compound. So we started from just a rug. I was more comfortable because I didn't have the crowd there. So we're just staying in the 1-bedroom, just his rug. I was happy because at least I had my freedom to be able to cook for him, you know, do stuff for him, and all not wed. So by the time I came back from Port Harcourt, my mom asked me how far. I told her, they did not give admission. They said we should come and write one mini exam. She said, I said, yes, so it's mini exam. They said after this mini exam, that's when they're going to now give us admission. So I was now using that to manipulate my mom. The next time I wanted to go to Port Harcourt to go and see my ex-husband, my boyfriend then, I would go and edit and send my mom text message. So my mom started getting suspicious. Why is it that my uncle is sending text message and my uncle has never called? So she got worried. See how God now punished me. So there was a day I traveled to Port Harcourt to go and see my boyfriend. That's my ex-husband. And I had lied to my mom with the text message. So while I was with my ex-husband that day, my mom called me and said, Nkiruka, where are you? I said, Mommy, I'm in Calabar. Oh. The exam is tomorrow. The exam is tomorrow. I'm reading. Oh, I want to pass and enter school. She said, you are reading. Where is Uncle Ude? I said, Mommy, Uncle Ude, he's in his office. Oh, he's in his office. My mom said, let me talk to him. I said, Mommy, I'm not close to Uncle Ude. Oh. Me, I'm in the this library. I'm reading. I want to pass. She now said, Nkiruka. I said, yes, Mom. Nkiruka, yes, Mom. Nkiruka, yes, Mom. They have given you admission. I said, Uncle Ude has called me. He said that they have given you admission in University of Calabar. Anywhere you are, start to come back home. I said, you say? She said they have given you admission. They gave me admission, I don't even know. I just told myself, it is finished. Oh, voila! It is finished! Oh, at that point, I was excited and I was pained because I know that, okay, patapata, they will beat me for the last time. So I told my ex, he said I shouldn't worry, and my mom is not going to beat me. He believes my mom is not going to beat me. So when I got home, my mom asked me where I went to. I told her I traveled for a friend's wedding. She just said, eh? So all these persons that have been sending her, I said, worry, please. She didn't actually beat me though. She just ignored me. So that was how I got admission into the University of Calabar. I was so excited that I had gotten my freedom, you know. So I got into the University of Calabar. We started dating. So my ex-husband is a very possessive person. He's this kind of person because he met me as a very young girl. He was about 12 years older than me. He was already working. I was a little girl. So he was too possessive. I didn't know why he was too possessive. Me then, I was seeing it like love. You know, he was too possessive. He bought me a phone. He monitored all my movements. He used to take lectures with me. If I'm in the lecture hall, he would tell me to leave the phone on because he was paying for the call. I would leave the phone on. He would take lecture with me. He goes into the exam. Hey, he was possessive. So, the truth about it is, I never planned to marry early. I never planned to marry my ex-husband as of then. So let me tell you how we got married and what warranted the marriage. We were just dating. So he had elder sisters. You know these sister-in-laws now, and he's from Edo State. So at some point, I don't know what I did to his elder sisters. They started fighting me. They started hating me. I didn't know whether they said I was taking their brother away from them, but I can't recall what brought about the sisters fighting me. So there was a time that his elder sister gave me a boot to help her sell since I was in school. So I couldn't sell the boot because not everybody liked it. So I don't know what transpired that day. I can't recall, right? They now came and started fighting me to leave their brother's house. So my ex got angry and told them to stop fighting his girlfriend. So the sister came and was still fighting me. So he beat up his sister, his eldest sister. He beat her up for my sake. So we had to leave the family compound because the father now said, I'm going to leave his compound, that I am bringing confusion in the house. So he took me away from the compound and took me to a hotel. So we're in a hotel for about 1 week. He was the only son. My ex-husband is the only son. So they started begging him to come back home, you know. Or yeah, come, let's talk. You know, because he was the only son, his mom was very fond of him and his parents really loved him. So they now said, okay. His father now told me that the only way I'll come back to the house is except he marries me. That he cannot keep bringing a woman that he's not married to into the family compound. That is disrespectful. Do you understand? That if he says that he loves me, that he should marry me. That was it, oh. The next thing, my ex came back from work and told me, baby, give me your hand. I gave him my hand. The next thing, he put an engagement ring in my hand and told me, we are going to get married. At that point, I couldn't say no. Because he has already beat up his elder sister because of me. So at that point, I felt like I owed him. Like, I can't tell him no at that point, after beating up his elder sister. After taking me out, I felt like he chose me over his family. For leaving his family house with me. We were in a hotel for over a weekend before they begged him to come home. So when he asked me to marry him, I couldn't say no. I wasn't ready for marriage. I didn't even know what marriage was about. I was still young. So at that point, it was like, okay. So, I don't even know when to carry me go marriage. I was still grooving life. I want to have marriage. So I called my mom and told my mom, Mommy, I'm engaged. My mom said, by who? I said, my boyfriend. She said, come home, come home, come home. So I went back home. I showed my mom the ring. My mom said I should go and return the ring to the person that gave it to me. That was what my mom said. Please take the ring back to the owner. I said, Mommy, I cannot give him back the ring. My mom said, I don't know this person. I said, Mommy, he will come and see you. She said, return the ring back to the owner. What are you going to do in marriage? So I told him, I told him this is what my mom said. And I said, okay, he's going to come to Enugu and come and see my mom. So that day, he came to Enugu. He came to my mom's shop in Ogbete main market. It was drama. He came to my mom's shop and told my mom that, Mommy, I want to marry your daughter. My mom looked at him from head to toe. My own daughter. Didn't Kiru tell you how old she is? He said, Mommy, I love her. I'm going to take care of her. And mom said, You want to marry a small girl? What do you want to do with her? Say, I love her. We have been dating. And mom said, oh, so you're the one that have been spoiling my daughter. My mom started fighting this guy, fighting my ex. And it was raining that day. She told my ex, get out of my shop. Get out. So she had to chase my ex out of her shop. He was kneeling down outside under the rain and was begging my mom. It was people in the market that was now saying, lolo now, lolo, biko no, lolo no, you know. Before she now said I should bring him home. So we now boarded the bus. Mom drove home, we now boarded the bus. I went to go and meet her in the house. So we spoke. She spoke. My mom now said, okay, let she talk to my dad. Let us hear from my dad. So my mom spoke to my dad. My dad said I can never get married. What am I going to do in marriage? Like he sent me to the University of Calabar, 18 years. What am I going to do in marriage? I was just in year 1, What will you go back to school? That was what my father said. I don't know, Daddy, I'm going to marry him. Daddy, I'll marry him. Daddy, I'll marry him. By then, now, you know love now. My ex, we're already doing lovey. I cannot do without you. My blood is tied to your blood. You are the treasure that I seek. You were close to me and I did not know. The love that I seek for many years was right beside me. Yet I couldn't feel it. So we're in love. So my father said I wasn't going to get married. I told him I will marry this guy. Come rain, come sun. I'm very stubborn. I have finished marrying this guy. Instead of me not to marry this guy, let the earth come down. My father said we shall see. So I was able to persuade my mom and told my mom. So my mom spoke to my dad. So as of that period, I was now threatening my parents with pregnancy. That if they don't allow me to marry my ex, I will get pregnant and I will disgrace them. My father said if I want to get pregnant, I should get pregnant. Now is he holding me? So my mom had to talk to a couple of my uncles. My uncles told them, allow her to get married now. Is it until she brings disgrace to the house before people allow her? So that was how my mother and my father reluctantly agreed. In fact, they actually agreed because I threatened that I was going to kill myself and I was going to get pregnant. So after about a month, they came for formal introduction in our house. So when they came, my father asked my ex-husband a very weird question. So my father asked my ex-husband, you say you want to marry my daughter? He said yes. My father asked him, for how many years? He said, sir. He said, how many years do you want to marry my daughter? He could not answer. It was his father that now came and said, in-law, marriage is for a lifetime. They are going to last forever and they are going to get married forever. My father said, what an elder sees sitting down, even if a small child climbs on top of the tree, the child will not see it. That was the statement my father made and went into the house. Me, I did not, my own, I wanted to marry. I was never entering my ear. So we're done. We fixed the traditional marriage rites. He came to a boy state. If you see me the way I was dancing on my traditional marriage day, don't worry, one day I'm going to show you guys the video. I dance. So if you see me that day, that's why they dance like earthworm. Alika, I was dancing. Hey, I danced that day. I danced, my sister. After dancing, we did the white wedding in Port Harcourt. So my ex-husband has been hitting me even while we were dating. But whenever he beats me, he made me feel like it was love. Each time my ex-husband beat me when we were dating, I didn't see it like beating. I saw it like I was just a stubborn girl that needed correction. I never knew what domestic violence was. In fact, that word domestic violence did not exist during our time. So at that point, each time my ex beats me up and tell me sorry, I saw it like love. It wasn't domestic violence to me, right? I felt like sometimes my ex will hit me because when he talks, I'll talk back. I'll say, leave me alone, Joy. You know those small children? So I didn't see it like beating. I saw it like, okay, because he was older than me, he was correcting me. So I didn't see anything wrong with him beating me when we were dating, to be honest, because he was beating me then. But I saw it like part of relationship, right? You know this Nigerian movie, when they beat you, they'll tell you sorry. So we kept going. So a day to our wedding, one of his friends came to visit. You know, we're preparing for the wedding the next day. My friends were there, my Ashebi girls were there. So his friend came in from, I think from Warri. So he asked me I should give the friend food. I was tired because we had gone to a bar to my wedding dress and shopping. I was fagged out. So I was lying down in the sitting room tired. He now told me to get food for his friend. I reluctantly stood up and, I got eba and soup from the kitchen. And the house was crowded because of the guests that we had. They were playing music. More like a wedding eve now. So I served the guy the eba and the soup with a washing hand bowl. I now went back to go and lie down. Now, this is what happened. When the guy finished eating, the guy wanted to pack the plate. I wasn't sleeping. I was just lying down. So when the guy finished eating and wanted to pack the plates, I overheard my ex-husband telling him, don't pack, let me call my wife to come and pack it. The guy said, no, bro, make I pack him. He said, no, but make I go call my wife. So when he came to where I was, he kicked me. I did not answer. He kicked me again, I did not answer. He now tapped me and said, come and pack the plate, my friend is done eating. I told him I will not pack the plate, I'm tired. He said, eh? I said, I won't pack, I'm tired. He said, why? I told him I will not pack the plates, I am tired. He said, oh, really? I said, really. Where I was lying down. Hold on, guys. Where I was lying down, he slapped me. He woke up where I was lying and came and slapped me. So when he slapped me, it attracted crowd. People were like, why did you slap her? So when he slapped me, I stood up and started crying. Then my friends were now like, Jesus, why will you slap her? People were now asking, why did you slap her? You know, I started crying. I walked into the room because I was lying down in the parlor. I walked into the room. So my friends were now like, okay, let me pack the plates. If the plate is going to cause trouble, let me pack the plates. At the end of the day, he ended up packing the plate. So he now said, okay, don't worry. Since it has caused trouble, let me pack it. So he carried the plate to the kitchen. Yeah, my friends started telling me, babe, you sure say you go feel married? Why would this guy slap you? And he didn't slap me in private. He slapped me in the midst of people. You know the way people, it was a one bedroom. We weren't even staying in a big place. So my friends, everybody was littered everywhere now. So he slapped me in their presence. So my friends were now saying, hey, babe, this one when they slap you, are you sure? You know, people when I was crying, people were not like, are you sure you can do this? How can somebody slap you on the eve of your wedding? No, this is a red flag. That was when that was when I even started knowing what domestic violence was. Before I didn't know what domestic, I was seeing it like normal. If he had slapped me in private, he has been beating me, right? But when he did it in public, people were not telling me, no, this one is abnormal. For a guy to even hit you in public in the front of your friends, is a no. Are you sure you still want to go ahead with this marriage? So that was when he came into the room and started begging me, apologizing that he was angry, blah, blah, blah. He apologized and begged and begged. What will I do now? Everybody's already gathered. Am I supposed to call off the wedding that day? So I agreed. The next morning, went to the altar. In fact, that morning itself, I didn't know where I kept the wedding ring because everywhere was all hanky-panky and this thing. That morning, because I was looking for wedding ring, they still gave me another slap that morning before I went to the altar because I was looking for the wedding ring. They slapped me that morning. My eyes was red to the altar. So when I was doing my makeup and wearing my wedding dress, at that point, I didn't know whether I should say I'm not doing again. But everybody was already in church. We went to the altar, we got married. One wanted to exchange the wedding vows. The pastor said, would you take so and so person as your lawful wedded husband, for better, for worse? I didn't talk. I didn't say a word when the pastor asked that question. I was just mute. And the pastor asked again. He was holding my hand. He was like, baby, please don't do this. He thought I was going to say no. Do you understand? Then as he was telling me, baby, don't do this, tears started dropping down my eyes. One of my useless auntie that was in the crowd thought it was tears of joy and started shouting, praise the Lord. Pray. What? Praise the Lord. Everybody started shouting, hallelujah. The choir started doing bang, 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 drummer boy. They thought it was tears of joy. They didn't know that I was thinking of my life. So I finally said, yes, I do, reluctantly. So that was how I got married. Few days to the wedding, because all through the period I dated my ex-husband, we never had sex without condom. We were using protection. One day I asked him when we were dating, why is it that you always use a condom when you're making love to me? Is it that you don't trust me or you don't enjoy me? He said, no, it's because I love you and I want to marry you, so I'm protecting you for the future. I don't ever want you to have an abortion. That was what he said to me. So all through the period of the relationship, we never had unprotected sex. It was after the marriage, that was the first time we were having unprotected sex. So we had unprotected sex after the marriage. as naive and as young as I was, I thought I was pregnant. Because I used to hear that when you have unprotected sex, you're going to get pregnant. So when we had unprotected sex that night and he poured inside of me, I thought I was pregnant. And I told him, I'm worried though. I want to finish school before I get pregnant. Because that was what we talked about. He said I should not worry. Even when I'm pregnant, there are lots of women that are also pregnant and going to school. So he said he wanted my younger ones to come for holiday because we got married on the 5th of December. So he said he wanted my younger ones to come for holiday during that Xmas. I said, okay. So I told my parents and they allowed my younger ones to come for holiday. So 1 week after the marriage, my younger ones came to Port Harcourt for holiday. So out of naivety, you know, I woke up one day and said, let me go and check if I'm pregnant. I was just being naive. So I didn't know that day he traced me to the hospital. I told him, I'm coming, I want to go and buy something. I didn't know that he traced me to the hospital. So I went, I saw the doctor. The doctor told me that is not how pregnancy works. That pregnancy doesn't work 1 week after sex. That if I want to know if I'm pregnant, I should come back after 1 month. That's when the pregnancy will be very, very visible and will show. So I told the doctor, okay. The doctor explained to me my cycle, my ovulation period, and blah, blah, blah. It was that bad that when I got married to my ex-husband, I didn't even know what orgasm was. I didn't know what it was for a woman to come or not to come. So if you even ask me I can't even remember the sexual intercourse I had with my ex-husband. I can explain every other of my sexual escape, but I can't remember what I did with my ex because I didn't even know anything about sex then. I was that naive. I remember when my ex asked me one day, did you come? I told him, what's the meaning of come? He said, come simply means orgasm. I told him, what's the meaning of orgasm? He said, you don't know? I said, I don't know the meaning of orgasm. So we had to start Googling the meaning of orgasm. He started explaining to me, this is how it feels like when you have orgasm. I told him, okay, I've not noticed it. Or maybe when I notice it, I'll tell him. I was that naive. I was really naive when I got married. So like I said, I didn't know that my husband had traced me to the hospital. So when I came out of the hospital, he told me, the first thing he told me was like, you went to abort my child. I said, how? He said, Shebi, you came to abort my child. I told him I didn't come to abort any child. I only came to check if I was pregnant. He started beating me from the hospital. He beat me from that hospital into his car, drove me to the house, pushed me inside the house, and brought out his bed and started beating me inside the house. That I went to abort his baby. I said, abort which baby? Do you understand? To show you that he himself, he was naive. This guy beats me. So my sisters, my younger ones were washing outside. So they heard my voice. So they came and was, shaking the burglary proof. Uncle, leave my sister alone. Uncle, leave my sister alone. So as he was beating me, I was trying to struggle to open the door and go out to the balcony. Because the balcony we use this burglary proof to cover the balcony. So I struggled. It was that bad that his father was calling him, leave this girl alone, you will kill her. He beats me to coma. 2 weeks after our wedding, my ex beat me to coma. It was until I fell into coma, that was when he stopped beating me. The next place I saw myself was in the hospital. I was like, what happened? I saw him by my bedside. I saw his mom by my bedside. His mom was not telling me, hi, sorry, I'll be fine. At I have to be strong, oh. That even during her own marriage, her own husband beat her too. Hey! I went back into coma. Because the mother was trying to tell me that the beating has not started. So he came, he begged, I'm sorry, baby, I hate myself. I don't know what comes into me. He apologized and apologized and apologized. What would I do? I accepted the apology. By then, my younger ones said that they are going back home. They had reached out to my parents. My father told my younger sister, I should not come back to his house. If I want to die there, I should die there. She said I want to marry. I should die there. So the only thing my mother just told my ex-husband was, just send me my remaining children, the one that you did not marry. What happened? You drank water? Okay, baby, I'm on a live. Just send me my... Go down, baby. Just send me my remaining children, the one that you did not marry. You can keep the one that you married. So that was my younger ones went back, and I continued to stay with him. The beating did not stop. Now, a lot of people are going to be asking, Why does your ex-husband used to beat you? What were you doing? The honest and the bitter truth is that I wasn't doing anything. There are men that can only show authority by beating a woman. Now, because I have grown and I have become knowledgeable, I no longer hold grudge for my ex. That was what my ex-husband saw his father do to his mother. Many men feel that the only way I can possess authority is by hitting a woman. So some men want to show you their might. They want to show you a woman that they are bigger than them by beating them, because I was doing absolutely nothing to warrant beating from my ex. The only thing I knew I was doing was probably he would tell me, I'll tell him, leave me alone. Don't beat me again. You know this one, I normal bakashalonu now as a young girl. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'll not sit down. That's the truth. My ex smashed my phone more than 10 times. He would smash my phone, he would buy it back. Why was he smashing my phone? He wanted me to delete all the numbers on my phone. I should not contact anybody. He even asked me to delete my mother's number. That my mother is influencing me, because most times when he beats me, I will call my mom. It's only my mom I can talk to at that point. So he hated the fact that I used to talk to my mom. So he felt my mom was the one that was making me stubborn or making me, you know, stuff like that. He was beating me for no... I can't remember one thing I did to my ex. I don't used to do anything. It was that bad. He beats me at every slightest provocation. He beats me when plates fall from my hand. You know that point somebody beats you to the point that you become scared? If I, you know when your father is coming back and you hear his horn, if I hear my ex's horn coming back from work, I'll be shaking. It was that bad. And I was young. There was no Facebook. There was nothing to be influencing you, Seth. Sometimes you take my phone and go to work. And at that point, because my parents asked me not to get married to him, I couldn't call. There was nobody for me to call. I was stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea. You know that point your parents say don't marry and you say I'm going to marry. So at that point, I was ashamed. I wanted to make it work. I didn't want what people say to come to pass, because everybody said the marriage was not going to work. So I was trying so hard to, you know, mend the marriage. Most of you are going to ask me, what about his parents? His parents could not do anything. I was staying in the family compound and they used to beat me self to their face. The mother used to watch her son beat me. The father used to watch his son beat me. His sisters used to watch him beat me. So they weren't going to save me. The beating continued. At some point, I got used to it. I started seeing beating as part of marriage. I'm telling you the honest truth. I saw it like a normal thing in marriage. You know that point, I got so used to the beating that the beating wasn't affecting me anymore. I already knew that when he come back, he's going to beat me. When he horn, he will beat me. When he come back and his food was not ready, he will beat me. He beats me at every slightest provocation. I got used to the beating. When I got used to the beating, he got uncomfortable. You know that point they'll beat you. Normally before, when he beats me, I'll be crying. But before now, recently when he beats me, I'll not cry. I'll just be looking at him. So he hated the fact that each time he hits me, I don't cry. He hit me to the point that I became hardened. So when he beats me, it will bounce back. It was like I was doing a day shift for him. You know that point where you go beat picky. If you beat him, you go do like this. So if he slaps me, I'll just look at him and I'll walk away. So he'll come and drag me. Why are you walking away? You're stupid. You know, stuff like that. So he continued doing this thing until I got pregnant. When I got pregnant for my son, I didn't tell him because we were always quarreling. I and my ex-husband were not compatible. We were people who, I was in school. I was still schooling while I was married. So I used to go to school, come back, go to school, come back. Sometimes I couldn't wait to go back to school because it was in school I had my peace of mind. Because every time I was with him, we were always fighting or one beating or the other. I couldn't wait to run back to Calabar and, you know, have fresh air and have my peace of mind. Until I got pregnant, I told him all through the period of the pregnancy was beaten. Until I finally had my child through CS. I had my first son through CS because my baby was breached. So they had to cut me open to for me to have the child. Long story short, after the child, the beating continued. I remember when I gave birth to my child, my son had jaundice. For those of you who are mothers, I didn't know what. When I gave birth to him, they had to put him in this phototherapy light or something. in the hospital for the jaundice to clear. Apart from the fact that my son had jaundice, his navel refused to fall. They said it was infected. So I was worried. I was nursing my operation. My breast milk refused to come out. My son had jaundice. His navel was infected. And the day that the parents came to the hospital to see me, the only thing that the mother noticed was that I did not give her a chair to sit down. She came into the hospital. I was with my son in his cot, trying to clean his navel. The mother picked up her phone and called my ex-husband and said, "Do you know that she came to see and Nkiru did not give her a chair?" My ex-husband drove all the way from the office to the hospital to ask me why I did not give his parents chair when they grandson. And I got angry. In the hospital that day, I held him on his shirt and told him that you're a wicked man. That was what I told him. I told him, why don't you kill me? Because it's so obvious that you want to kill me. A woman who just had a child for the first time. I've never had an operation in my entire life before. Childbearing gave me my first cut. My son is here. You do not have empathy. You're telling me I did not give your mother cheer. The network is quite bad. He was saying I did not give his mother cheer. Doctor was able to reconcile us and we went back home. I'm going to cut the story short. It continued. After childbirth, the beating continued. My mother came for Omugo. My ex-husband drove my mother away. 2 weeks after birth, I nursed my son alone. From 2 weeks to 8 months, I gave birth. I suffered. I'll bathe my son alone. As a woman that has CS, even mother-in-laws cannot bathe child alone. I will drop my child on the bed after bathing him. I'll clean myself. I struggled for 2 weeks of having a child to 8 months of having a child. The beating continued. It was becoming unbearable until one fateful day. I had finished feeding my son. As a new mom, I didn't know. So after feeding my son, I just dropped him on the bed. Let me go and bring water in the kitchen. So I was lying my son down like this in the bed. So by the time I came out from the kitchen, I realized that food was coming out from his nose. Maybe I did not rub his back to belch. My ex-husband ran into the room and started shouting, "Witch! You want to kill my only son? Witch! You want to kill my only son?" He carried my son from the bed and took him to his mother. The mother started shouting, "Witch! She wants to kill the boy. She wants to kill the boy." I didn't even understand what was going on. I just knew that food was coming out from the mouth. So my ex took my son and gave to his mother and came back into the house and was calling me a witch as I want to kill my son. As he was calling me a witch, tears rolled down my eyes. I told him, why would I want to kill my son? A child I single-handedly nursed. Where was your mother when I was nursing this boy from 2 weeks to 8 months? His elder sister had given birth, so the mother went for Omugo. I nursed my son single-handedly 2 weeks to 8 months. As a 19 to 20-year-old girl, nobody helped me. And suddenly I want to kill the boy. He asked me to shut up. Before I could say Jack, my ex slapped me. Then when he slapped me, that was the day he broke the camel's back. I told him, enough is enough. He said, eh? That was the first time I ever challenged him. I told him, enough is enough. If you try this ever again. As he wanted to say Jack, he wanted to raise his hand on me again. I took the pressing iron that was on the ironing board and I told him that day, Lucky, if mama born you well, you talk, say your mama born you well, see my cheek, slap me. He was shocked. He didn't know what got into me. I repeated it. I said, Lucky, if your mama born you well, see my cheek, slap me. If I don't kill you, bury you for this house, call me bastard. He stepped backward. He knew that he has touched a spot. I told him, God punish you. Now because say I sit down here, they do small girl, God punish you. You don't know the girl you married though. Because say I did dobale for you, God punish you. I said, see my cheek. If you say you be man, just rub my cheek. Now the guy fear. My guy step back. Because he knows, say at that point, and I swear to God, if my ex has stepped one forward to me, I for kill him. Because I had it up to here. You know that point you had messed with a woman. Now after messing with a woman, you want to mess with my child. How dare you say I want to kill my child? Picking where I suffer raise. You they mad? CS will never heal. You they craze? They did the rubbish and brought it to my child. If they were still doing it with me, maybe I would have ended. But they brought the rubbish to my child. They now want to make it look as if they love the boy more than me. Where were they when I nursed that child single-handedly? He moved backward. I dropped the iron. Before I could say Jack, he had left the house. I waited for about 30 minutes. I did not see my child. I went to their family house. I knocked on the door. Nobody answered me. I was screaming by the door. You people should give me my child. Let me breastfeed him. My breast is full. They did not answer me. They were staying in a family house. It was a bungalow. I went to the backyard, their mother's room. And I told the mom, I give you the count of 10. If you don't bring out my child, I will march down this door. And you people will not believe what you're going to see. They have never seen me spoke like... I have never disrespected anybody. You know that point? They marry you and you are doing moo, everybody's riding you. The mother was shocked. I went to the door and I shouted, 1, 2... I thought I was joking. 3, 4... When I got to 9, I said 9, 9.5. I did not know where the strength came from. I'm not exaggerating. I marched down the door. It was a wooden door. I don't know where the venom. Oh, I said, do not try. When a woman, I marched down the door. Immediately they had the house girl, Doris, brought my child to me. I told her, God save you. If I had entered that room and I met both the mother, I would beat both the mother, beat both the father, and wait for the consequences. Now, because I keep on quiet for this house, I've been on a mad. I be one man squad though. They made me mad that day. They thought I was mad though. My ex actually thought I had gone crazy. I was shouting, I be one man squad though. I go burn this house. Now, because I keep quiet, person they form good. I don't like good girl. Ever since I come this house now, if Gloria don't find my trouble, blessing go find. If everybody just this, what did I do now? I was just a 20-year-old girl. We were not competing. Those bloody motherfuckers were far older than me. My ex was 12 years older than me. His sisters were far older than me. What did I do now? What did happen? They shocked that day. That's why I carried my pikin enter house. My ex did not come into the house for like 3 days. He was in the family house. He had never seen that part of me before. Never. So, after I had calmed down, he now told me that I'm going to move to the family house. That he doesn't want me to transfer my Ogbanje spirit to my son. I said, no problem. I moved to the family house. The mother got uncomfortable because when I moved to the family house, when my son wakes up in the night and my son is crying, I will not answer my son. She'll wake me up and say, Nkiru, nwale bakwa. I'll say, Mommy, bule nwa. Is it not you that is mother-in-law? Carry the child now. So I started confronting her. She got uncomfortable and told my ex to come and carry me back. You know, before I was that mumu. But this one, I made sure. Shebi, you say you want to nurse your grandson. Nurse him now. Why are you telling me lele nwa? Kule nwa now. Not be when you see your pikin go to do eye service. So the woman got uncomfortable. There was a day I went and I warned the woman. She was in her room sitting down there and I warned her. I told her, Madam, if you come close to me, if you say you are a witch, I'll tell you I'm a wizard. Enough is enough. Mommy, I have respected you enough. If you come 1 inch close to me again, you will not believe what I'm going to do. I said it to her silently. So since that day, the woman hated me. If you talk, say you be winch, I will tell you, say I be wizard. Don't try your rubbish. It don't do. It don't do. I left. So since then, the woman didn't like me. Do you understand? Because look at how I used to look at the mother. I don't use the I was looking at her like this. So she was so scared of me. She didn't know what I was capable of. So the marriage wasn't working. So I thought I could mend the marriage. So that day, I went to my ex-husband and told him, okay, let's reconcile. Let's let everything go. Let's start all over again. You know what he told me? Nkiru, I said yes. Food I will give you to eat. Water I will give you to drink. But you see, this marriage is over. We are just cohabiting in the same house. That was the first time in my life I was hearing that word, cohabitation. I had to go and look for it in the dictionary. It simply means we're just living like husband and we're just living like neighbors. I was in the marriage, I was, nursing my child. I was becoming a shadow of myself. I could not eat. That was when I witnessed what was called depression. He took my phones from me. Whenever he's going out, he will come and carry my son and go and give to the mother. And tell me to go to the family house and stay there. Because he knows I'm not comfortable in the family house. So sometimes I'll just leave my son there with them. I was a shadow of myself for over 2 months. Until one day, I called my younger sister and told my younger sister that I wanted to leave the marriage. But I was scared of survival. I was not in talking terms with my parents, my mom, my dad. Where do I start from? At least normally when you come out for husband house, you go to mama house now. There was nowhere for me to go. My sister told me to come to Calabar. We will survive. I wasn't working. No money. I didn't know where to go to. But I knew it was time to leave. Because if I didn't leave the house at that point, I would have hurt myself and hurt him. The only thing that was coming into my head that time was kill this guy, kill this guy. It was there I woke up by 1 a.m. in the morning. I took the fuel in the backyard. I wanted to burn down the house. The only thing that made me not to burn down the house that day was my son that was sleeping inside. Evil thoughts began to roll in my mind. Each time I'm cooking his food, something would just tell me, poison it. If I had stayed few more years with my ex-husband, I would have murdered that guy. Because at that point, all I wanted was vengeance. All I kept asking myself, what did I do to this guy? I couldn't place one thing I did. This was like 7 months after the marriage or 1 year after the marriage. We have not even started. I told myself, I can let this guy go and start up my life from the beginning. One fateful day, I woke up and said, I want to walk away. He was sitting in the sitting room that day. I went to him and told him that the place that they operated me is paining me. I want to go to the hospital. Before then, I had prayed a silent prayer. I said, God, if this marriage will work, if I tell this man that I want to go to the hospital, let him drive me to the hospital. But if the marriage will not work, let him allow me go. So when I told him I wanted to go to the hospital, he told me, bye-bye now. Is that why you're wearing these short skirts? Go and change the short skirts. I went into the room. I changed the short skirt into a trouser. I carried my son. I went and dropped him in the family house. I was just carrying my Chanel handbag that day. I didn't pack one load. I didn't pack a bag. I was just carrying a small handbag. And the only money I had in my handbag was 2,000 naira. As I walked out through the gates, I told God, I don't know where I'm going to. But I want to leave. I know that there is more to me than this marriage. I don't want this man to turn me to the woman I'm not. I'd rather walk away with my dignity and my pride. God, I don't know where I'm going to. Lead me. The 2,000 naira I was holding, I took a bus to Peace Park. To AKTC in Port Harcourt in Water Lines. My intention was when I get to AKTC, I will beg for transport. But when I got to AKTC and saw the people in that place, they even looked like they needed transport more than me. Then I remember that my wedding ring was gold. So I went to the closest place where they sold ring in Port Harcourt and sold my wedding ring. I think I sold it for about 30-something thousand then, or 40-something thousand. So I had money. I picked the next available bus to Akwa Ibom. I went to my friend's place. Her name is Amarachi Nsude. God bless her. She didn't know I was leaving my home. I told her I just wanted to stay in her place for a while. There's something I want to do in Calabar. I stayed in her place for a while. By then, my ex was already looking for me. I changed my phone number. So they thought I was missing. He had gone to report in the police station that I didn't come back home. So when I changed my phone number, I called my mom and told my mom that I'm fine. I just want to cool off my head. My mom asked me, where's your son? I said I left him there for now. My mom said no. I said, Mommy, let me cool off first. She told me to come home. I should come home. I said my dad asked me not to come back home. She said I should come home, that she would talk to my dad. I told her, okay. I was in my friend's place for about 2 weeks. And I told my parents to tell my ex that I'm fine where I am. When they told my ex-husband that I was fine where I am, he said he wanted a divorce, that he was done with the marriage. My father said, come and collect your bride price. Everything you gave me for the traditional marriage, I did not open one because I knew that the marriage would not work. My ex was shocked. My father told my ex-husband, do you remember that when you came to my house, I asked you how many years do you want to marry my daughter? You thought I was joking? Every wine, as you brought the traditional marriage rights, come and carry it. I did not open one because I knew that you were not a husband. I had to go back home like a prodigal daughter to apologize to my parents. When I got back home that day, I couldn't look my father in the eyes. I remember what I told my dad the day I was getting married. I told him, Daddy, the only thing you will come to Edo State and come and carry is my corpse. Whether you like it or not, I must marry Lucky. When I made that statement to my dad cried and told me, I can see that your mind is made up. Go and marry. So when I came back home that day, and I knelt before my father's feet to beg, the only thing my father told me was this. Nkiruka, I said, yes, Dad. I sent you to University of Calabar to go and study, to get a degree and make something out of your life. You said it was early marriage. Now that you have come home, go back to school, graduate, make something out of your life. I don't want your peers to be better than you. The only thing I'm ashamed of is the fact that your peers will be better than you. And I made my father a promise. I told him, Daddy, none of my peers, call their names, will be better than me. I will go back to school. I will graduate. Daddy, we've never had a celebrity in Onichi Igbeze. In Ebonyi State, they said we are the poorest. I will make a name. I will be the most famous person in our family. As I was saying that to my dad, I didn't even know my left to my right. But that was where the zest came from. That was where the determination came from. That was where the boldness, that was where the undying spirit came from. That was when the I don't give a fuck. That was where this strength that you people, that was where it came from. I went back to school. I had an extra year. My mate had graduated. I graduated from school. While I was waiting for my extra year, I had to get a job to keep myself busy. I got a job in Transcorp Hotel, Calabar. I worked as a dry cleaner in their laundry service. I was the cashier in Transcorp. My ex went about telling everybody that I abandoned my child for prostitution. That's what they always say. I went back to go and pick up my child. My ex-husband refused to give me my son. That was when the battle started. I went to the child welfare. The child welfare told him to give me my child. He refused. What did my ex-husband do? He went and reported me to the anti-kidnap unit in Port Harcourt and told them that I wanted to kill him, threats to life, and I wanted to kill my son. They came and arrested me. I was in police detention for 4 days. My parents did not know where I was. My ex asked me to sign an undertaking that I will never have anything to do with my child again. I said, never. You would rather kill me. The police asked him to leave the case and give me my child. He refused. He said he wants to take the case to court. My first son was born on the 17th of April. On that day was the day my ex-husband was taking me to court. What did I do? That I came to kidnap my son and I want to kill him. We were on our way to court that day from the police station, anti-kidnap unit in Port Harcourt. When they asked me to get a shorty, by then they had given me my phone and I had called my parents. My parents were not in Port Harcourt. So they quickly gave me one of my uncle's number that was in Port Harcourt to come and shorty for me. My uncle said he was on his way. We were outside, still deliberating. And I asked him that day, Lucky, what would you say I did to you that will make you take me to court? You saw me as a young girl. You got married to me. I had a child for you. Today is the 17th of April, the same day I was cut open to give you a child. It's the same day you want to take me to court. For doing what? That I want my child back? He said all this thing I'm saying is nonsense. I told him I leave you to God. Baby, I told him I leave you to God. It's except I did not carry that boy 9 months and give birth to that boy. It's except he did not cut me open to give birth to that boy. On this 17th of April, you will cry pain. For every 17th of April, you will cry bitterness. If I offended you, may what I say not come to pass. But if I did not offend you, you just felt you want to mess me up. Just because I got married to you. Or just because you have money more than me. May you cry on every 17th of April. I didn't even know the gravity of what I was saying. As I was still talking, he got a call. And they told him that his father just died. He fell on the ground and said he doesn't want to do case again. He ran out of the courtroom to the hospital. And that was how they called off the case. His father died on my son's birthday. Maybe his father had to die for the case to end. I went back home. And I continued chasing the custody of my son. I still went back to my ex-husband a few months after his father died and told him, Can we make this work? Can we make this marriage work? Can we salvage what we have? We loved each other so very much. He told me that even if his father wakes up from the grave, the marriage is over. He used to work in Keystone Bank in Waterlines. I remember going to that place. I knelt down on the main road when he was walking away from me. I held him by his feet and told him, please, can we make this work? I remember him kicking me and telling the taxi man to knock me down. Everybody had gathered in Waterlines. For those of you that know Port Harcourt very well. He entered into the taxi and zoomed off. I was so ashamed of myself, I couldn't even raise my head. So I was just kneeling down there. People were telling me to stand up. It was one man that came and carried me up and took me into his car. I was crying. He put on the AC for me. And he asked me, how old are you? I told him 21. And he said, 21 years? Why did you get married? I said, I don't know. He asked me to raise up my head. I raised up my head and he said to me, you have life ahead of you. Go and prosper. This man does not deserve you. He asked me if I had transport money. I told him yes. I remember he gave me 5,000 and asked me where I was lodged. I told him I don't know Port Harcourt very well. So he took me to a hotel and paid the hotel bill and drove off. The next day I went back to Calabar. I was going from church to church because people were telling me that it was spiritual. People were telling me that they hold your husband somewhere. I went to 8 different churches. Some of the churches, the pastors even tried to molest me in the name of prayer. Until one of my friends finally took me to one prophetess. They said the woman used to see. I went to her prayer house. While I was waiting, she said she wants to see me. I want to be the last person she's going to see. I patiently waited. And when she was done praying with everybody, I was the last person. And she asked me to open my palm. I opened my palm. And she told me, leave that man alone. He's not your husband. I said, Ma? She said, leave that man alone. He's not your husband. She said, what is your name? I said, my name is Nkiru. She told me, Nke Noniruka. You have so much life will offer you. You are a destined child. Go and progress. There is so much God wants to do with you. Leave that man alone. She was the first prophetess that told me to leave my ex alone. That was how I let him go. God bless her. I've searched for that church. I can't find the church. Just to go say thank you. They had demolished the prayer house. I picked up the pieces of my life. And I told God, I don't know where to start from. But I want to survive. I was that young girl that also thought that marriage was life. That's why when you see me talk, I talk with so much passion. I talk with so much depth. I was that young girl that felt that without marriage, you cannot be recognized in the society. I was that young girl that constantly prayed. All I did was prayed for my ex-husband. I never prayed for myself because I never even believed that a woman could be successful. I prayed for my ex-husband to buy a car. He changed his car. I prayed for my ex-husband to leave his 1-bedroom. He was building a 3-bedroom before we quarreled. Everything I prayed for him happened. I never prayed for myself because I never even believed that a woman could be successful. I also had this mindset that when a man is successful, a woman is successful. So I felt when he had, I had. So when I left him, my life shattered because I didn't even know where to start from. I had to start from square one. I went back to school. I got a job. It was when I got a job, that was when my life started over again. I became independent. I started battling for the custody of my son. My ex told me, Nkiru, without me, you are nothing. Mark my word. As you have left my house, you will suffer. Nkiru, I'm the one who gave you life. Nkiru, I'm the one who gave your life a meaning. You will suffer without me. The highest you will end up is a prostitute on the street. When I come out publicly to say, I have never done wrongs, people think I want to say it out of bragging. I had every opportunity to misbehave. For every time my friends, maybe I'll call you back, please. For every time my friends told me, blessing, you get one man, we get money, we say make we come Abuja. If I want to pack my bag and go, the first thing I remembered is that my ex said I'm going to end up a prostitute. I'll say no. Never. This man's word cannot come to pass in my life. That's why sometimes when I count my blessing, I count my ex. He's part of my success story. My ex is part of the reason why I didn't misbehave. Because I needed to prove a point to him. He was part of the drive. My ex was the man who made me want success so bad. He gave me that zest. I needed him to see that wherever he is, he'll be hearing blessing CEO. That small girl that he used to manipulate. I didn't do wrongs. Because for every time, I will remember that this guy said I'll end up a prostitute. So it's between me as if I'm going to die when I go and do wrongs. I disciplined myself. And that was why I got a job. I started working. I started doing business. That was when I bought my first car. When I bought my first car, it was so exciting. The first car I bought in my life was a Kia Rio. Doors began to open when I started working. It took me 5 years to get custody of my son. But I finally got custody of my son. Because of my ex, I went to work with the police. Because my ex used police to intimidate me to the point that I said I must work with the police. This police that my ex used to, any small thing, he would call police for me. I finally got custody of my son and moved on with my life. Why am I crying? I'm not crying because I feel pain. I'm crying because a lot of you don't even know where we are coming from. When you see us on Facebook and Instagram, you want to be us. You want to have everything that we have. There's something my ex used to tell me when he was married to me. He would tell me, Nkiru, I'll say, I want you to be better than your peers. And today, coupled with what my ex told me and what I promised my dad, there is none of my mates that is better than me. My peers, those I went to school with, those I grew up, those that there is nobody can come out and say they are better than Blessing CEO. I made my dad proud and I'm still making my dad proud. I made my mom proud and I'm still making my mom. I've not even started my journey. I'm just 32 years. That's why a lot of people don't even believe my age. I started life very early. And that's why when I talk to you people, I talk to you with so much passion. Now you understand where the drive came from. Now you understand where that strength, that zest, that fire, that's where it came from. Now you understand why I'm not going to jump into marriage again. Now you understand why your favorite relationship therapist no get relationship. It's because I've been there. And it's only an idiot that will make mistakes, same mistake the second time. I'm not telling you this story for you to pity me. I'm telling you this story to inspire you. A lot of people don't know where you're coming from. They will judge you. They don't even know the pain you felt. Let the pain be the drive. I'm so happy of who I've become. I looked my ex in the law court the last time we saw and I told him, you will be proud that you once married me. You will watch me every day on your screen and look at me and say, Kai, she was once my wife. That's the zest. I used to be that little girl like you used to be. I used to be on Facebook. I used to be you. That's why sometimes when I talk, I laugh at you. I used to be as naive and as ignorant as you were. I had your mindset until life gave me experience, pain that I survived. My ex was not a bad man. It would be very bad of me to just call him bad. He only loved me the way he understood love. That was all. He treated me the way he understood. That was his own way of defining love. My ex-husband have remarried. I think he has about 2 children with his wife. But he still beats his wife. Maybe he has stopped. But the last time I checked, he was still beating his wife. So he didn't change his pattern. He only married a weaker woman that could take his rubbish. He still beats the wife that he's living with. He didn't stop beating her. But maybe the woman can take beating. Like I used to say, there are some women that like meat and there are some that like bone. That is why no matter how bad your exes are, somebody will still marry them. Know your limits. Know your boundaries. The truth about it is, my ex was not a bad person, but we were not supposed to get married. If I knew what I knew now about marriage, I can never have married my ex. We didn't have a good foundation. We were not supposed to get married because we didn't even know anything about marriage. We were two naive people that felt we loved each other and just wanted to, get married. And that's the reason why every time I sit down here and I want to tell you, don't go. It was easier for me because I started young. It was easy for me to leave my marriage because I was just in my 20s. When I was 21, that was when I left marriage. So it was so easy for me to pick up my life. What about you that is in your 30s? It might not be as easy. That's the reason why I'm begging you to take your time. It's better you marry late than marry wrong. When you are of age, to leave marriage, even if they are killing you, will be hard. That's why some women die there. It was so easy for me because I was still young. I had not lost anything. I was still beautiful. I had not lost any part of my body. So it was easy for me to come out and pick up the pieces of my life. What about you? And God saved me because I was genuinely ignorant. Maybe God knew that I was going to come. I never even knew I was going to be a relationship therapist. Maybe it was God preparing me to give me a story Because what makes me unique in my craft is my story. I don't think any relationship therapists have my story. I don't think we have any relationship therapists in Africa that is divorced. Or let's say in Nigeria. I am one of the most imperfect relationship therapists that is willing to bear herself. I don't think there's any relationship therapist that will come and cry on Facebook and show her vulnerability. Why did I cry? I just want to show you that I'm human. I'm not as strong. I cry too. I'm human. And I'm still a woman. But it's because the men that we trusted disappointed us. So we decided to stand up for ourselves. It's not because we are too strong. It's because we don't have a choice than to stand up for ourselves. So if you're a beautiful woman watching this video, why am I sharing this again? And I'm still going to share this story again. I'm not saying marriage is bad, but I want you to take your time before you choose. Some of you will not survive it to tell this story. It's so sweet to hear my story, right? It's because I survived it and I became successful. If I was not successful and famous, this story will not be interesting. If I'm saying itself, you'll be sighing. The reason why most of you are paying attention to this story is because I made success out of it. That's why it became interesting. That's why it became inspirational. Please. I'm not saying you should not get married. Just take your time. Don't overlook the red flags. It is the red flags that we are overlooking that is making a lot of men not to change. Many men are not putting in efforts in marriage. They are leaving it for the women because they know that women will take the red flag. But a lot of men will not take half of the red flag that we take. Maybe when we start to put our feet to the ground, the men will begin to adjust. The men will begin to look inward and begin to change. Men will never change because women will keep tolerating their bullshit. But if we want our men to change and begin to do better, we have to put our feet to the ground and give ourselves some dignity. I'd rather be single to stupor than to marry wrong again. I would rather be single till the day I die than to marry wrong again. And if I marry wrong again, I would divorce again and again. One thing about me as a relationship therapist is that I would never be scared of walking away from a toxic marriage. No matter the level I get to in my life, if I make the mistake and marry wrong again, I will still divorce the person. There is no shame in surviving. There is no shame in being alive. So please, pay attention to the red flag. With this viewpoint of mine, I hope you enjoyed my story and I hope you learned something from it. For those of you who came to troll, I hope you don't become a victim. Because when you become a victim of this same thing I talked about, I will charge you. Because you know what? I'm going to be one of the most expensive relationship therapists in Africa. So if you make this same mistake that I warned you of, make sure you've made so much money to pay me to be able to help you solve these mistakes. It's okay to troll me. It's okay to drag me. But make sure you don't become a victim of the same thing that you drag. Because you will pay. You will pay. So make sure when you are a dragger, you're a troller, make sure you have money. Because your problem might come to my table and I might be your doctor in future. So be careful. While you are dragging and while you are trolling, go and make money. So that peradventure, the one that is going to treat you, you can be able to afford me. Because I go charge you. You go pay. Alright guys. I'm going to have to let you guys go to bed right now. Thank you so much for coming up on my live video. Somebody said, why did you check whether your ex is still beating his wife? I didn't check. You know, news, as a celebrity, news have a way of coming to us. I have people that are his friends that are giving me gist now. Everything that is happening in my ex's house, I know. Unfortunately, there'll be people around, and everything that is happening with me, he might even know. Me, I'm already out there, so he doesn't even need any information. I know everything happened. Why won't I check? I don't check. They bring the news to me. He has friends. I have friends. They are still close to him. His wife has friends. So I have all the information about his marriage, and I don't envy him. Any other question? Any other question, guys? Thank you. If you have any questions, I'll answer. God bless you, Mama. Thank you so much. Yes, my darling, there's no shame. Nobody should ever shame you shame you because you survived. No. Don't ever be ashamed of surviving. Do you know what it is to have life? Some people have died, though. And you are still breathing. Someone is insulting you that you ran away. So, any other question, guys? Thank you so much. Thank you. You're welcome. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask. One of the best videos I've ever watched. Thank you. Any other question? They said, how did you... Somebody said, now that you have realized your mistake, would you advise the young generation girls to do the same? Anything that works for you, just look out for the red flags. Any other question? I have been divorced for 19 years and this is exactly what happened to me. Are you serious, Jennifer? What do you have to say about divorce in the Bible? There's nothing wrong in divorce. Go and read your Bible, sir. You can divorce. There's nothing wrong in divorce. My namesake, I salute you. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, somebody said this is my first time watching you on live and I'm so happy. God bless you too. You won't see anything until you hear from your... Somebody said we won't see anything until we hear from your ex-husband. I'll be waiting for him now. I've said my own. So you wait for him now to come and say his own. Mr. Judge. Judge without no courts. Don't go and face your relationship and your life. They wait to hear from my ex. Funny how I introduce you to ladies to watch your videos. Thank you so much. Okay, guys. I was actually waiting for you guys' question, but I'm seeing that there's no question here. Okay, guys. I'm not seeing any question. Okay, since you guys don't have any question, I'm going to have to let you guys go. Thank you so much for coming into my live video. I love you guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.